Okay, so I just want to make a little video today, mainly to thank the people who've helped me get to the position I'm in with regards to monitors. I'm going to talk about the PMC 2 monitor, which is behind me here, and how I came to get it, why I came to get it, and what they're like. So I run a music production company, primarily dealing in vocal coaching, and then I work with artists with songwriting and with music production. So I kind of do it all. I do a lot of engineering, I do a lot of producing, I do a lot of mastering as well. So monitoring is, especially important. I mean, it's important to everyone who's a producer, and the common saying with monitoring is, get the best monitoring you can afford. Now, I want to talk about the PMC 2. Now, the gigantic elephant in the room with the PMC 2 is obviously, they're quite imposing, but it's the price. I mean, they're astronomical. I mean, you're looking at about £10,500 to get these monitors, which is a lot of money. I mean, it's a hell of a lot of money, and it wasn't a decision that I took lightly. It was a calculated investment, primarily on the basis that my company at the moment, Melody Matters, you can go and check that out, is doing especially well. We've had a great year this year and last year. So I personally was looking to just put in a bit more investment back into the business, which I continually do. Every year something new pops up in the studio, something fairly expensive, because we've got to invest back into it, and obviously if we get a few tax breaks with that as well. So I was using my monitor. My monitor journey has been fairly weird. I started doing this music production in the late 90s on a really old copy of Cubase, and I was using hi-fi speakers at the time, and I mean they were all I had, and so they served me pretty well. Nowhere near as good as these kind of things, but then I moved on to work with. I've worked in lots of studios in my time. I've worked in Sawmills, the famous where Oasis recorded Definitely Maybe. I've worked in Abbey Road. I've worked in Sphere Studios. I've worked in Fieldgate Studios. So I've been quite lucky that I've experienced really high-end monitoring, but never owned it myself. So I moved from the hi-fi speakers to, I think it was a set of Yamahas, and then I went with Adam for a while, and they were excellent speakers, Adam. And then I went with Genelec, and the Genelec is the speaker that I've had for the majority of my time being a producer. So this year I thought, well, I'm gonna get some new monitoring. I've been working with. There's nothing wrong with the Genelec. They were brilliant. My mixes were translating very well. So it was a tricky decision. Do I just stay with what I've been working on, or do I move up the ladder to get some more, to get better monitoring? Now, I've worked on ATC before. Really like ATC as a speaker. And so I was used to hearing that timbre, that really, that nice imaging that you get from these really high-end monitors. Stuff like Genelec or the lower end of the market, you just don't get. Now, I was looking at going up, just up one rung. This is kind of going up about 3 rungs. And the market was completely saturated. You had stuff like Head. You had the other Genelecs, which were the 8341s, So I was close to getting them, which would have been a similar kind of, I thought would have been more of a sidestep. I was definitely looking at a 3-way system until I discovered the PMC 6. So the PMC 6 was the choice I originally went for, and I bought the PMC 6. Now the PMC6 was 7,000 quid, so it was way more money than I was looking at spending. But I just thought, if I'm going to do it, let's just do it properly. Now the PMC6 are a two-way system. So I did initially get those into the studio, and these weren't even on my radar because I just thought they're just too big. There's no way they're going to translate very well in here or perform very well in here. Now this room is really well treated. It's not perfect. I still get a bit of comb filter in from the monitors, which when we're doing vocals in here, it can be a pain in the ass. But I've got panels, so we can get them out and use them for vocalists. But I thought the PMC6 were just going to be way too big, so I just didn't even go down that road. Plus they were astronomical amounts of money. So I bought the 6s, and they were amazing. They were absolutely superb for a two-way system. The mid-range was best I've ever heard. The imaging was the best I've ever heard. Now there was a problem with them, and every time I played the piano, there was a real weird buzz coming from both of them. It was more prevalent on the left-hand side. So they were going to have to go back. So I was a bit disappointed that they were great speakers, but these things happen. It was just, I think, maybe something had happened in transit. I don't know. So subsequently, I arranged for them to go back, and I spoke to Phil Milross from PMC, and he convinced me to try the 6.2s. He said that they'll definitely work within this room. Now, the PMC 6.2s, you can run them analog or you can run them digital. They prefer to be run in digital. So these are connected via AES. Okay. So because of that, they've got a DSP crossover, and because of that, you can adjust the equalizer curve on it to accommodate the room in which you're in. I haven't done that yet. I've actually got Phil coming to the studio on Friday, and he's going to have a listen and probably do a bit of tinkering and see if he can get them to sound better. Now, how do they sound in this room? Well, they sound amazing. They've got everything that the PMC6 had, but more. They've got imaging like you have never heard in your life. It's kind of like, I put it to someone the other day, it's a little bit like augmented reality, but in sound. You can almost see the instruments. You can almost see things. You can almost see the sound. It's tricky to explain, but that is the closest I'm going to get to explaining what the imaging's like on these things. They're the best speakers I've ever heard. I've never heard a speaker perform so well in my life, and I've listened to a lot of speakers. Now, a lot of people say, well, they're way too big for this room, but they're not. I was in that bracket myself. I wasn't even considering these, but they work very, very well. I mean, PMC have got a limit of I think it's 1 meter. That's the minimum, the minimum you should be able to work with. Any closer than that, you're going to get problems with linear phase because they're a three-way system. You're going to have problems with the mids reaching you a bit quicker than the highs, or that kind of thing. So, I mean, providing you've got enough space, they'll work. This desk pulls right out. It's got a piano in here, so I'm sitting at all times right on the sweet spot, and I'm 135 centimeters away from the tweeter ear. The speakers are 135 centimeters apart, tweeter to tweeter, so I'm right in that equilateral triangle, and they work fantastically. So yeah, I mean, as I said, they're a three-way system. I think they're tri-amped. I think there's 3 amplifiers in there, which are powering each part of it, the mid-range, the bass, and the tweeter. Now the bass goes down to something really low. I think someone said it was 33 hertz, maybe lower, maybe higher. I don't know, but you don't need a sub with them. They are truly big bassy speakers, and that can be a problem if you've got them too close to a wall. That can be problematic. These are sort of towed in and they're angled forward. I made the stands because after spending that amount of money, I refused to spend another like £1,000 on the Argosy stands that were sort of recommended that they'd be put on. So I made these. They're made of wood and steel, so they're really secure. And I put them on the ISO acoustics pucks. They make a big difference to the sound, and they just isolate the speakers to give it that a bit sweeter of a sound. In terms of performance from a working perspective, they're brutal. They're kind of like NS10s but they can go down really low and really high. When I first started using them, I was actually I started trying to mix an acoustic guitar, and I had real problems doing that. And at one stage, I thought I'd made the wrong choice. I kind of wanted to go back to my Gen Next because I knew where I was. But after a while, I kind of worked them out and kind of worked out what it is they were doing. They're not they're very revealing to the sense that it's brutal. That if you've got a problem, it's going to give it to you with both barrels. So be prepared to, if you do go for any of the higher end PMC. I mean, these aren't the higher end. I mean, there's higher ones than this. I mean, they've got the 8.2s and you've got the massive sort of studios. They use the ones which are about 100 grand, crazy. But you know, they're big commercial studios. That's something we're not, and they certainly wouldn't fit in this room anyway. So, but I think 10 grand's kind of like where we draw the line for a set of monitors. Who are they not for? Well, they're not for people who are just casual and just wanting to just, you know, mix a little bit here and there as a bedroom producer. They're certainly not for that. They're very high end, and they're for the professional user. They're also not for people who haven't got room treatment. If you don't have any room treatment, forget these things because they just won't work. The only reason they work in this area, in this room, is because of the treatment. You know, in here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I got 11 GIK bass traps in here. So it's kind of like a giant vocal booth in this room. It's really dry. Some people like that, others won't. I'm used to it. I like it, and we do a lot of tracking in here as well as a lot of mixing and mastering. So there's no reflections apart from this. And like I said, when we do have vocalists in, or myself, if you've got a big voice, then we need to get the GIK panels and put them and make a vocal booth out of them. But the PMC 6.2, a lot of money. Who are they for? Well, they're for people really who need the very best in monitoring, critical monitoring, and for the professional user. If you do this for a living, and you've got the money to spend on high-end monitoring, these are going to be up there with on the top of the tree for in terms of choice. There are other options out there. The Amphions, which I'm getting a lot of praise at the moment. Haven't heard them myself, but I've heard they're very good. Of course, ATC. They share a very similar sonic signature to ATC. They're very similar in terms of the way they sound. The difference is that these just got way more bass. I've used the SM45s and the 100s and the 150s of ATC, and the ATCs are much bigger than those speakers, but they don't have the bass. I've kind of seen some other YouTubers talking about the dramatic difference between AES and analog. If you want to use them analog, you can use them analog. But the problem you've got if you're using them analog, they're getting converted via your interface, then going into the monitor and getting converted back to digital, because these are digital monitors. So you've got two lots of conversions going on there. So there's going to be a bit of latency, and that's going to be maybe problematic. I didn't really find it that sort of a massive difference. I did initially run them analog. I'm now going AES out of my RME. And I suppose the sound is better. It's kind of got to be, because there's only one lot of conversion happening now. It's going straight into the PMC 6.2s, and it's getting converted there. So I'm bypassing the conversion in my RME, but I'm still using the conversion in my RME for microphones and all other forms of recording. So I'd want to thank the guys at Make Noise Pro Audio. Now, Make Noise weren't on my radar at all. I actually contacted PMC because, as a company, we get a lot of privileges because I'm coaching a lot of people and because I'm teaching people mixing and mastering. A lot of the software companies just give us their software. Isotope gave us their software. Pulsar have given us their software. We work with SSL, and we get a lot of software just given to us. Fab Filter, Kierhoff, it was given to us. So my idea really was, if we're getting software, maybe we could get a discount from the hardware companies. So I contacted both PMC and ATC and Genelec. The only guys to come back to us was PMC. So they made the choice really easy. I mean, ATC didn't even bother replying to the email, and it was a nice email that we wrote. But I mean, that's fine. They've lost out because we've gone with PMC now, and I can't envisage me ever going away from another monitor again. Now I've heard these and now I've worked on them. So yeah, I mean, the PMC turned us on to Make Noise, and I'd never heard of Make Noise. I didn't know who they were. I've predominantly dealt with KMR, Steph and all the boys, top lads, Nick, Lee, James, Rab, great guys, love them. Been dealing with KMR for a long time, and I have a laugh with them, and they're great, and they send me bits of kit, and I try it out, and sometimes I buy it, sometimes I don't. But then I got turned on to Make Noise Pro Audio, and it was those guys were just amazing. I've got a good relationship with them now as well. I did try and do some stuff with SX Pro, but I mean, Sam, if you're watching this, nice one, mate. I mean, he made it so easy for us to do business. I was looking at Genelex originally because I was worried about because I didn't want to stray too far from what I knew. So I did try SX Pro with them, and they made the process so difficult. They wanted us to pay to have them, pay to ship them out. They wanted us to pay for the demo pair. I was like, fucking hell. So in the end, I just said, I'll tell you what. I spoke to one of my colleagues. I said, I'll tell you what, let's just go with PMC. Let's just go with Sam from PMC. Because he made it so easy. He picked up the speakers, he dropped off a demo pair, it was no messing about with him. When you're spending this amount of money on a monitoring system, you don't really want to jump through fucking hoops, right? You just want to be able to listen to the monitor, make sure it's the right monitor for you, and then buy it. And I'll do a lot of business now with Make Noise. Already we're looking at some new preamps. I'm also looking at a new microphone. I've got the Telefunken TF47 here, which is a great mic, but for my voice, it's because I've got a very big voice. It really struggles, especially in that sort of 2 to 4K range. I'm always trying to I'm always trying to, find out this. There's a horrible squeak in my voice, and it's coming from the comb filtering, I think. But even by damping it doesn't help. Now, when I got the 80 PMCs, it was even worse because like I said, they're just so brutal. I mean, if you they look like they're going to sound nice, right? And they do sound nice, as long as it's been mixed well, But if you think you're going to get these kind of speakers and they're going to, because I have seen some reviews, especially from Ed Thorne, who I love his channel, and Paul Third, and I did drop Paul a message on Instagram, and he was actually saying that they were too hi-fi, but he was using the 226s, the older model. I've never used them, but these, Ed also said these were the tightest bass he's ever heard. I think it's the other way around. I don't think it is at all easy to mix on these. They certainly don't sugarcoat it like Ed said. But I mean, look, Ed's got a different room to me, and every speaker you get is gonna act or react differently depending on the environment they're in. So I can't really say what he was experiencing. We actually had the exact same demo pair because I saw a video of him and there was a scratch on the side that was the same on the demo pair. But as soon as I heard them with mixes that I'd done, I was half expecting them to sort of be oh shit, I got to redo all these mixes, but I didn't. In fairness, I'm pretty bloody good at what I do, I think. So the Genelec, who a lot of people say are too forgiving, I didn't find that either. I actually found them to be great speakers, the Genelec. But my point being is that because the mix was good, I didn't need to translate. They translated well on here. I didn't feel I needed to do anything. But there were a couple of vocals that were way more forgiving on the Genelecs, and these just gave it to me both barrels, and I just couldn't work with. I couldn't work with the vocal. I had to change it because these just literally shone a light on that 2 to 4K bandwidth, and it was brutal. So be warned, they're certainly not easy to work with, but you just got to sit with them for a while. But if you're looking for a 3-way system, so these are near fields and mid fields, you can use them. I mean, I'm pretty sure they'll perform exceptionally at any in any of those positions, either near or mid. But be warned, if you're too near, they're not going to work. You're going to have phase problems with them, and you've got to be banging the sweet spot of these. There is quite a big sweet spot, but like with any mastering grade speaker, you're not listening to them like a hi-fi speaker. I mean, they're not hi-fi speakers because most hi-fi nerds, right, audiophiles, is that what they're called? Well, they're not listening to the music, right? They're just listening to the equipment. That's all they're doing. They're listening to they're listening to the sweet, they're listening to the mid-range, and the music sort of goes past, just passes them by. But for me, as an engineer, producer, and a mastering engineer, I don't want to hear the speaker. I don't want to listen to what the speaker's doing. I just want to hear the mid-range that is provided, is providing, and these give you that in spades. I mean, it is such an experience to listen to or to work with a mix with these particular monitors, because you can be clinical where you put stuff, tambourine there, hi-hat there. You it's kind of like you've got a mini sound stage here. Well, it's not mini, but a sound stage where you can place everything in, where you want it and here. So if you're looking for that kind of experience, and if you can afford it, because they're, like I said, they're not cheap. But I mean, you're only buying these kind of things if you work in the industry. You're not buying them to mess about with. If you've got a day job and you're coming home producing, unless you're a multi-millionaire, then get them, because they're certainly not for just dipping your toe in. You've got to be, you're buying these things as a tool, not as something that purely for enjoyment. I mean, don't get me wrong, they give you a lot of enjoyment, but what their main focus is accuracy and workflow. You being able to do things quicker, make decisions quicker, and therefore get work done quicker. Because when you're working in this kind of environment, time is money, and I'm dealing with with probably at the moment I'm mixing anywhere between 20 songs a week at the moment. For various artists. On top of that, I'm producing various records for artists as well. So the quicker I can make those decisions, well, the quicker I can get the product to the client, and then I can move on to the next project. So it was worth it for me. We'll definitely get a return on the investment. Not to mention, we're the only studio in Wales with them. So that's quite a USP for us. There's a lot of people with ATCs, there's a lot of people with Genelacs, but there's no one in Wales using PMC 6.2. As far as I know, I've spoken to Phil about that, and this is a in a professional capacity. Someone might have bought them for pleasure, don't know, but we're certainly keeping them. If there's anything you want to know, if I've missed anything, in terms of the function of the speaker, how they operate. Because of their digital, on the back you're going to find a menu system which is really, really easy. It does come with a program called Sound Align, which I haven't even touched because, like I said, I've got Phil coming to the studio on Friday. He's going to dive into that a little bit more in depth, because quite frankly I don't know what I'm doing with it. For one thing I don't understand is you've got to do it per speaker. You can't do it two speakers at the same time, which to me is a little bit counterintuitive. So I would have preferred. You've got to put an Ethernet cable in the back and then go to an IP address, and it's a bit convoluted for me. So I'm gonna let him do it because I kind of want him to do it once and set it and forget it. But there's not a lot of technical stuff to talk about. Like I said, you can use them in small rooms. Don't listen to people that say you can't. You can use them analog. The difference isn't that massive. There is a difference, but not a massive difference. But I would question, if you're looking at these, you should be looking at a system, an interface that can handle AES. You're certainly not going to be running through these kind of speakers through a Focusrite 2i2 or something like that. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with a Focusrite 2i2. You get a lot of hate, and I used to have one, and they serve a purpose, and you move up, and you get these things. So okay, so that's kind of all I've got to say on them. If there's any questions from you guys, just drop some comments down in the comments section. Like and subscribe to the video. And if you can subscribe to my channel, it's kind of a wealth of stuff on there with regards to all my music, all the stuff I produce, and it'd be good if you could subscribe. So I'll see you next time. Cheers.